Good morning. I am the Reverend Joan Javier Duval, minister of the Unitarian Church of Montpelier, and I extend a warm welcome to you this morning. Thank you for joining us in this time of worship from wherever you are. The Unitarian Church of Montpelier is a Unitarian Universalist congregation founded in 1864. We are a religious community of many beliefs, backgrounds, and identities that welcomes all as we journey together, seeking spiritual wholeness and justice in the world. Whether you are a newcomer, a longtime member, or somewhere in between, we are so glad that you are with us this morning for our annual All Music Sunday. Thank you to Interim Music Director Kellie Hart, pianist Eliza Thomas, UCM Choir members, and also members of the congregation who have participated in preparing the music for today's service and join in leading worship this morning. If you are joining us on Zoom, the chat function will be on for much of the service. It is a great way to welcome and support one another, to affirm the hard work and effort of our worship leaders, and to share good vibes and positive thoughts with each other. Additionally, on Zoom, you can turn on the live transcript or closed captions for increased accessibility. Thank you to our virtual greeters who are offering hospitality and tech help throughout the service. Again, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. And let us now enter more deeply into our time of worship with our prelude, which is going to be played by Eliza Thomas right here in our sanctuary.
Choir members Cecile Sherburne and Tom Schurston give our opening reading today with The Struggle Singing Shining by Victoria Safford.
I once saw a little girl dressed in a fabulous outfit. She was in preschool, and her clothes were matched only by the radiance with which she wore them. A dress tie-dyed in bright orange, hot pink, and electric yellow with socks to match, pink suede sandals, and on her knee, as she revealed to me demurely by lifting the hem of her skirt, a Band-Aid in the brightest bright blue. We were out of purple, she said with mild regret. The child was shining, shining. I admired her dress and her joie de vivre. And she said, well, I wanted to wear my favorite outfit because we were having church today. And in case I had failed to notice, this is my favorite outfit. She gave her dress a little flip and smoothed her bunchy body. She straightened her short legs so the sandals stuck straight out. She ratcheted up those fiery socks and looked me in the eye. I thanked her humbly for her example, and wholeheartedly, I meant it. Later, in the afterglow of her costume and her gladness, I thought about that girl. There are children all over this world, and some adults, scattered here and there, who unfailingly will punctuate their lives and their days with sacred celebration and with rituals signifying joy, no matter what they have or don't to work with, no matter what fury the outside world is howling. They will savor life and breath and all their days, no matter what is dealt them. It's the only way some people know to live, with gladness and cacophonous color. These are people who pray without ceasing, awake and aware, chanting, if they're old enough, this is the life I'd risk anything to save.
Gather yourselves, say the Hopi elders. See who is in the water with you and celebrate. All that we do now must be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. There are things in this life that are so beautiful, so lovely, so simple, extraordinarily ordinary blessings, that the only response sometimes is thankfulness, the kind of thankfulness that clamors for loud colors on a Sunday. Choose your clothing with defiance, with attitude, with joie de vivre, and with intention. Every action is a sacrament, every move a symbol, every color is a song. This is a day we'd risk anything to save.
We now have our opening song, This Little Light of Mine. Just so you know, we sing the first verse 3 times because we've got a solo, a wonderful solo, and a duet on the first and second verses. So I invite you all to join us when the choir comes in the third time of the first verse.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Those were some wonderful faces and a great solo by Maisie. Thank you so much. Another choir member, Fran Krushnik, is our chalice lighter this morning. One of the blessings of the pandemic has been that she has remained active in the choir even after taking a fall and sometimes needing to lie down during rehearsals. I'm so glad you're with us this morning via Zoom, Fran.
Let us now light the chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. I invite you to light a chalice at home if you have one nearby. We light this flame, enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Please join me in saying these words of affirmation, adapted from Universalist minister L. Griswold Williams. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant.
Music can provide comfort or express pain, connect us to beauty, to the holy, and to each other. It can mean different things to different people at different times. Songs in particular often have layers of meaning, from what the composer was feeling and thinking, to the interpretation a performer brings to it, to the listener's own associations and memories, as well as the ritual meaning ordinary people bring to songs accompanying their everyday lives and work. I so appreciate Vicki Vian's telling a story of how music helped her as a child and throughout her life.
By the canal with a clackety sound, see the broad arms of the windmill turn round. Little Dutch Nina, so cheery and bright, shoes may be heavy, but hearts can be light. I have loved singing all my life. It just makes me feel good to sing. Music class was one of my favorite classes in grade school. Singing shows up in all aspects of our lives. Singing is used in many joyful circumstances, such as to wish each other happy birthday. One of the difficulties of the pandemic is we couldn't sing together. Zoom just couldn't keep us in sync. Despite this, I find it fun to lead people, unmuted, in singing happy birthday on Zoom. The noise still sounds like love. Singing can be used to encourage others to live better. Before the pandemic, I would practice with the Central Vermont Solidarity Singers. We would sing in marches or at gatherings to support a movement. Singing also can help us with difficult emotions. I have read stories about people singing when they were very afraid to ease their fear. Singing helps me when I am sad. Growing up, I had 5 siblings. We were expected to stay in our rooms if we were very upset and couldn't stop crying. so as to not upset others. In my room, to get my crying under control, I would start singing as soon as I was able. First I sang sad songs like Swing a Low Sweet Chariot or Old Man River. When I started to feel better, I sang lonely songs like Moon River or Where Is Love. At the end, I sang happier songs. I loved the song How Do You Like to Go Up in a Swing? Two other happy songs were short songs I learned in 2nd grade, Chestnut Babies and Little Dutch Nina. I couldn't find either of these on Google, so I may be the only one singing them today. Singing let me express my sadness and uplift my spirit until I didn't want to cry anymore. Try it sometime when you are sad or upset. Maybe it would do the same for you.
There's an old man called Renoski River. That's the old man that I like to be. What does he care if the world's got trouble? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old Man River, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling. He keeps on rolling alone. He don't plant tables, he don't plant cotton, and them that plants them is soon forgotten. But old Man River, he just keeps rolling alone. You and me, we sweat and strained, body all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge and lift that bale, get a little drunk and you'll land in jail. I get weary and sick of trying. I'm tired of living and scared of dying, but old Man River, he just keeps rolling along. You and me, we sweat and strain, body all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge and lift that pail, you get a little drunk and you'll end in jail. I get weary tired of living and scared of dying, but old man River, he just keeps rolling on.
Victoria Safford says in her meditation in between, one afternoon, some time ago, I brought my little baby out to visit a very, very old neighbor who was dying that year, quietly and gracefully in her gracious home. We were having a little birthday party for her with sherry and cake and a few old friends gathered round her bed. To free a hand to cut the cake, I put my baby down right on the bed, right up on the pillow, and there was a sudden hush in the room, for we were caught off guard, beholding. It was a startling sight. There in the late afternoon light were two people side by side, two human merely beings. Neither one could walk, neither one could speak, not in language you could understand. Both utterly dependent on the rest of us, bustling around, masquerading as immortals. There they were, a plump one, apple-cheeked, a cherry tomato of a babe, smiling, and a silver thin one, hollow-eyed, translucent, shining, smiling. We revelers were hushed because we clearly saw that these were dancers on the very edge of things. These two were closer to the threshold, the edge of the great mystery, than any of us had been for a long time or would be for a while. Living, breathing, smiling they were, but each one with one foot and who knows how much consciousness firmly planted on the other side, whatever that is, wherever that is, the starry darkness from whence we come and whither we will go in time. Fresh from birth, nigh unto death, bright-eyed, they were bookends there, mirrors of each other, radiant. Cake in hand and napkins, knife, glasses, a crystal carafe, a century old, we paused there on the thresholds of our own momentary lives. Then, "What shall we sing?" said someone to the silence, to the sunlight on the covers, to the stars. It was the only question then, as now, years later. What on earth shall we sing? There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. I invite you to breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in peace. Breathe out healing. Breathe in wholeness. Breathe out love. Breathe in whatever you need. Breathe out whatever you need to give. Breathe in hope. Breathe out connection. If there are joys and sorrows on your hearts and minds today, I invite you to write them in the chat so others can share. Although we haven't been able to sing together during this pandemic time, we have found new and creative ways to keep music in our hearts and to get us through each day. All the music chosen today has special meaning to at least one of us, and often to many of us. We each add our meaning, our own meaning, and our own experience to the music. Nancy Snow shares next.
This next hymn, This Is My Father's World, was the all-time favorite of my mother, who's been gone 6 years just a couple of days ago. Kellie and I had some fun going back and forth adapting the lyrics of this hymn to have a more gender balanced and varied expression of the spirit of creation, but trying not to lose all the sweetness and intimacy of the original, which was a bit of a challenge. The first two verses have just slight changes to some of the many adaptations that are in modern hymnals, but with a mostly new third verse, reflecting some more current values. But as I sang the second verse, This Is My Mother's World, I couldn't help but think of my own mother and felt the loss of realizing just how much I don't know about her and her world, and now can't ask. What was my mother's world? Here she is at about age 4, and that's Snowflake, her cat, in the baby carriage, in the doll carriage, in maybe 1932 or 33. And the lights, as they called electrification back then, didn't come to most of rural Arkansas until the mid to late 30s. So she was probably heading back to a house with not even the hum of a refrigerator and no electric lights. And to my delight and wonder as a child, when we visited the old place in the 50s, where my grandmother still lived, still no indoor plumbing. I imagine that growing up with bright meadows, quiet enough to sense spirit in the rustling grass, informed her sense of beauty, maybe even more completely than it has for those of us privileged to spend part of our lives in this beautiful state of Vermont. And maybe that upbringing is what made her so resilient, such a survivor, leaving that rural world and adapting to the New Jersey suburbs as a young mother. And in her last year in her 80s, isolated by my father's growing dementia, I remember her peering with failing eyes at her iPad, using a magnifying glass, doggedly determined to figure it out and successfully connecting with old friends. So for me, just for now, This Is My Father's World seems a bit of a meditation on change and loss. But really what I love about it is its childlike innocence, affirming the goodness at the heart of creation and the hope we can have as part of it. So Mom, I hope you don't think all this messing with the words has ruined your old favorite, and will forgive all of us forever tinkering with tradition to reclaim it as our own. I, for one, just want to keep singing it.
This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings, and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my Father's world. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas, his hands the wonders wrought. This is my mother's world. The birds their carols raise, the morning light, the meadow bright, deep hear her pass. She speaks to me everywhere. We are part of this dear world, so we ne'er can live apart. And though the wrong seems oft so strong, the truth abides in each heart. This is our sacred world, not to keep but ours to share. For rocks and trees and skies and seas raise songs of praise everywhere.
The Irish have a long history of music, storytelling, song, and dance. They also have the history of enduring waves of colonization and starvation. This video, produced during the COVID pandemic, features a beloved hymn, Be Thou My Vision, and shows the beauty and the strength of the Irish people and their land. It is number 20 in our hymnal, and we also have it using the same tune in Wake Now My Senses.
Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart. Not be all and soonly, save that thou within you, Christ behind you, Christ before you, Christ beside you, Christ to win you, Christ to comfort and restore you, Christ beneath you, Christ above you, Christ in quiet, Christ in danger, Christ in heart, of all that love you, Christ in love of friend and stranger.
Go mani and cheerna hu, agus go goody she hu.
The Lord met the light of his face, and the goodness of his heart to be brecht upon you.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
The Lord bless you
And keep you,
The Lord make his face
to shine upon you
and be gracious to you.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon you.
and give you peace.
يباركك الرب ويحرسك.
Niech cię Pan błogosławi i strzeże.
Facă să lumineze fața lui peste
Yehova, തിരുമുഖം നിന്റെ മേൽ ഉയർത്തി നിനക്ക് സമാധാനം.
Kosi fuini alafia.
I've loved this next hymn, Now on Land and Sea Descending, which is also in the Gray Hymnal, since childhood, and we never sang it enough because it is an evening hymn. But if I can sing with you from Arizona, surely we can sing a night hymn during the day. This hymn also shows one of the ways the choir has made music for you this year. Since recording individual videos is difficult and time-consuming, I took a Zoom recording of the choir just this last Thursday during their rehearsal. Because Zoom doesn't record voices in sync, they also made individual audio recordings and sent them to me to mix. But this is why their faces are not as clear as what you'll see in a following video, which was done differently. I so appreciate the choir's willingness to be adventurous and learn new things this year.
Sea descending brings by night its peace profound. Let our vesper hymn
crying yet, you may now. Sue Stuckey will introduce our closing song.
Good morning. I first heard this beautiful song, Blue Boat Home, soon after it came out at a General Assembly in 2005. It was introduced by Jason Shelton, who did the keyboard arrangement. What an amazing experience to sing this beautiful lyrical song with those thousands of other Unitarian Universalists. We were all enthralled, and I get that same feeling singing it today.
Wow, just wow. Thank you to all of our participants in today's service. It has been just amazing. Our generosity is a form of love and gratitude. Our gifts freely given help us to practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation. Each month, through the UCM Community Pouch Program, we share part of our collection with an important church fund or a community organization aligned with our values. During the month of May, our Community Pouch recipients are the North Branch Nature Center and Vermont Interfaith Power and Light. Your contribution to the Community Pouch this month will be shared equally between these two groups. You can make a financial contribution today by donating online. Go to ucmvt.org and click Donate to UCM. There are options to contribute to the general fund, which supports the general operating budget of the church, the community pouch, or both. You can also mail a check to the church, or you can use our text to give option. Simply send a text message with the word give to 802-266-4848 and follow the instructions that are sent to you. We are so grateful to each and every one of you for your generosity in its many forms. And as we draw our service to a close, we extinguish the chalice and carry within each of us its healing flame, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope into the days and weeks ahead. And as we do so, I invite you to join in saying the mission statement of the Unitarian Church of Montpelier. We welcome all as we build a loving community to nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home.
And just a few brief announcements. Tomorrow at noon on Facebook, there will be a live air quality project discussion. You can also tune in next Sunday, May 30th. There will be a coffee hour breakout room for discussion about the air quality project. And this service probably has you bubbling up with desire to sing together in person, and that is coming soon. We are going to invite everyone for a church-wide outdoor sing-along while Kellie is here in Vermont for 2 weeks, and that will happen sometime in mid-June. We're still firming up the details, so keep an eye in the e-news, which if you're not receiving already, you can get by going to ucmvt.org and click under Connect. You'll find a way to sign up. And now to Kellie for our closing words.
What shall we sing, said someone, to the silence, to the sunlight on the covers, to the stars. It was the only question then, as now, years later. What on earth shall we sing? I want to thank Paula Gills for that lovely blue boat home, but also for finding our postlude, Flying Free, an archival UCM choir recording done many times when Catherine Orr was music director. I hope you'll stay on afterward for our coffee hour to hear more and celebrate the rich history of music at UCM, the Postlude.
Where I can stand.
building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine.